Welcome back into the Rounding Third Baseball Podcast, episode 187, just a bit outside. I'm Nick. We have Harrison. How are we doing tonight, Harrison?
Awesome, bud. How we doing? Good, great intro. Love anytime you can mix Bob Uecker in or Major League. I'm in for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's sad. We'll get into it, but first, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You follow on Instagram and Rumble. You can also subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, you can look at our Facebook page and our YouTube page. Instagram also has the links to our affiliate sponsors, Dick's Sporting Goods, MLB Shop, and Lids. Anything you buy through those links just helps support the podcast. It's a way to help support us without asking you directly for money. So please, if you are going to buy products from them, go through our link and do it to support us. It would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, and for those of you bandwagon Dodgers fans looking for hats, now's a good time to go pick them up.
Yeah. Before those get astronomically priced too.
Yeah,
But anyways,
before they start deferring part of the hat.
You just get the cap, not the bill.
Exactly. That comes later. Comes in 10 years.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. All right. Let's get right into it. So sad news in the baseball world. Bob Uecker passed away at the age of 90. This guy embodied what baseball is about, should be about. This guy lived, breathed baseball. His playing career from 62, 67, he'll be the first to tell you that he was not a great player. But his stories, I could listen to this guy talk for hours, and Brewers fans must have just been, I mean, in heaven, listen to this guy call baseball games for 54 years or 57 years. But I don't want to shortchange him at all, but it was a long time. I mean, he was the voice of the Brewers since 71. So that's a long time to be in the same broadcast booth with the same team. It's impressive.
Yeah, it's and as Red Sox fans, we were spoiled. You know, Joe Castiglione, who got the Ford Frick Award last year, or a couple years ago, retired last year. Incredible radio guy. So we in Boston had the benefit of a good radio guy, but there's nobody that stands up to Uecker in terms of longevity, listenership, the amount of people that followed him. I mean, people would listen to Milwaukee Brewers games to hear him that weren't even Brewers fans. Because he was just that good, and the stories, the play-by-play, it was a whole event with Uecker, and one that for those of us that got to enjoy it was incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, just off the field too. I mean, obviously bringing up his role in Major League, like absolutely hilarious throughout that entire movie. I mean, iconic movie and role for him in that movie.
Yeah, and for me, Major League is a rite of passage to the spring. Like I have to watch Major League before the Major League Baseball season starts, or I don't feel ready.
Yeah.
And so much of that movie is laughing at him.
Right.
You know, the just a bit outside reference and out by an eyelash at third when Willie Mays Hayes slides like 3 feet short. Like just the one-liners are just, they're so funny.
Yeah.
And it's such a great movie, but so much of it's made by him.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just ball 4, ball 8. Like, just
ball 12.
Yeah. How can they not swing at pitches that are so close? Like just so good. It's terrible. I'm glad the Brewers did memorialize him though. They have the statue like up there near the booth. Yeah. He's such a huge part of baseball. It's sad. But like you said, like glad we were able to listen to him and what he brought to the game night in and night out.
Yeah. And no Bob Uecker conversation is complete until we run down his career stat line, because he would love this. So in six seasons, with Milwaukee for a couple, St. Louis for a couple, Philly for a couple, he only had 731 career at-bats, 146 hits, 14 home runs, a career 200 batting average, 200 on the dot for him. He scored 65 runs, drove in 74, a 293 OBP, a 287 slug, and a -1 WAR. but a guy that is he's so memorialized in baseball, not because of what he did on the field, but because of what he brought to the game and what he brought to the fan experience. And I honestly think a guy like Bob Uecker is so universally loved because of what he brought to the fans
Yes.
from the booth and in movies and all that. Like maybe one of the best ambassadors for baseball we've ever had.
Yeah.
Why he's so beloved by fans, because career wise, he made it to the show, which I didn't do. So
Right.
kudos to him. But it's not his playing career. It's 100% like what he did for the game of baseball and his personality, how likable he was. There's very few people that have anything bad to say about this man, because he is truly, truly a legend and an ambassador of baseball.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just damn sad he's gone, because I looked forward every year to the stories. He'd pop up at All-Star events, and like he was always around. He was just always around the game, and he was
Yeah.
always great for. Maybe it was just a one-liner you got out of him, but you always got something out of him.
Yeah.
It's just it's really a shame that he won't be there.
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing all the videos that are popping up of him, like Pat Murphy when the Brewers are celebrating their playoff berth, and Euchre's right front and center of it.
Yep.
Like the love that he had for the game and everybody had for him. Like you don't get the name Mr. Baseball if you're not an integral part of what's going on in the game. So
Yep. Yeah, interesting question here in the chat. What do you think the Cardinals are going to do? I don't know what the Cardinals are going to do. I think he had a very short tour of duty there, and then really he was with the Brewers almost exclusively after his playing career. So I'm not sure what his tie to St. Louis is beyond a couple years wearing the uniform, but I have to imagine that the Cardinals are going to at least recognize him in some way. But I don't think he's got the same level of connection to St. Louis as he does to Milwaukee.
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot of teams kind of pay tribute to this guy, because that's how much he meant to the game. Like, I mean, one of the best, if not the best to do it. I mean, yes, you got Vin Scully in LA, that when he passed, that was, terrible and sad for baseball. Like, this is at that same level. Like a guy that is dedicated. It's a tough one. This one's a tough one. But
question for you, Nick, though. So when you think of kind of the Mount Rushmore of broadcasters, is Bob Uecker on it? And did the fact that he really didn't do TV, does that kind of harm his legacy, or did that prevent him from reaching even further?
Well, he's got to be sitting up there in between Joe Buck and Tim McCarver for me. Kidding. That's a joke.
Wow. So I thought you actually liked Uecker.
No,
so,
I do. And it's got to be Vin Scully, Bob Uecker, Harry Carey, and
Harry Carey, yeah.
I mean,
Jerry
Remy's up there. I hate that this is actually going to come out of my mouth, but John Sterling, like, yeah, like as a Red Sox fan, that's really hard for me to say, but he, again, such a huge part of that organization for so long that it's hard not to put him up there. Jack Buck could be up there. I mean, there's a lot of great ones, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Tough. But all right. Before we move on to the main part of the show, we'll address this question. Do we think the Red Sox are going to get Bregman? I don't know. I think Bregman, Santander, and who else is left? They're going to the Dodgers. I think they're probably going to sign tomorrow. That would be my guess.
Bregman, Santander, Flaherty, just send them all back. I mean, yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why Bregman hasn't signed. I guess that's the question I would ask back is, where do you think he's going to go? Because at this point, he's been reported to have been really close to the Tigers, and now the Tigers appear to be out on him. He was really close to the Red Sox. Now the Red Sox are kind of like, maybe not. We want to keep a spot warm for Christian Campbell. You've got, the Astros have closed the door on him. You've got other teams. Blue Jays have called, but they've not made any really aggressive run. And at this point, you just kind of assume the Blue Jays will finish second anyways, because that's what they do. I don't know where he's going to sign. I think he's down to like Detroit and Boston. I don't think he's got an option outside of those two.
No.
and it's January 19th. Pitchers and catchers are showing up in 4 weeks, and Alex Bregman still doesn't have a job, which is at this point shocking for how the offseason's gone.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at this point if the Blue Jays just throw all their chips in the middle of the table and get Bregman and Santander. They have lost out on everybody. And rumors are if they don't sign one or even both of these next free agents, Vladdy Jr.'s gone.
Yep.
So
yeah, the Blue Jays have said they will listen. They will listen to offers for Vladdy, but they're looking for a Soto package. They want 3 or 4 players. They want a couple guys who are major league ready, a couple high-end prospects.
As they should.
I mean, who do you want? I'll put him in a bus and ship him up to Toronto if you can send him back.
Yep.
There's few hitters in the game that are as lethal as Vladdy Jr.
Agree. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to say that the Red Sox are going to get Bregman. I would love to put him there, and Devers is saying all the right things. Like, yeah, just move me to full-time DH. It gives the Red Sox another trade piece with Masataka Yoshida.
And then Alex Cora has come out the last couple weeks and talked about the fact that he always envisioned Bregman as a second baseman because his game would really translate well over there. And I think everybody in Boston's saying the right things to try to lay the groundwork for a signing, but it ain't happening. Like, there's still no movement.
Yeah. John, this is
not true,
also...
John. He knows when a fly ball is coming into the window at him, though, at least.
Yeah, after it hits him in the forehead.
Those clips, I mean, God bless John Sterling. Like, I don't mean to make fun of John Sterling, but those clips of him getting hit are so funny because his reaction is just like it's almost fake. Like, you can't even tell if he really even realizes it hit him.
Yeah, that hit me. That really hit me. But yeah.
God, who was the woman that was doing the broadcast there? Susan
something.
Horrendous. Susan Walden. She's horrendous.
Yeah.
Anyways, beside the point.
All right. Let's get into the teeth of this. This one's going to take us a little bit to break down. But here we go. Roki Sasaki to the Dodgers.
Wait, he signed? No kidding. Huh.
Yeah.
Hadn't heard.
So when news of the Padres came out that Sasaki wasn't going there, we all pretty much was like, well, okay, he's going to the Dodgers, right?
Kind of a joke.
Even though like I said, and we've said earlier, a couple minutes ago, that the Blue Jays were still in on him. We knew at that point he was going to the Dodgers.
And the Blue Jays were loading up. Like, they made the trade for Miles Straw to get more international pool money. Like, they were loading up.
Yeah. So what does this mean for the Dodgers rotation? I mean, they now have 9 guys, right? So Sasaki's probably their 4 or 5 starter.
He's projected right now to be their 5th starter, which is shocking. I mean, you think of the talent they've got, and it's Shohei and Yamamoto, and you've got Gonsolin and May who are sitting back behind looking for a spot, and you've got too many arms. Glasnow, you got too many arms in front of him. He's a 5th starter probably on that team, which is hilarious.
Yeah, I Dodgers. I think I saw a comment earlier today. It was like the Dodgers are going to have more wins than earned runs they give up this season, which is a strong possibility. If that rotation stays healthy, no one's going to score off them, and if they can pitch to their max, it's wild. But Dodgers track record with starting pitchers, look at all the injuries. Like, that's an issue. Kershaw and Buehler and Gonsolin and May and all of those guys. You forgot about Blake Snell being there. I mean, God dang, man. This rotation is ridiculous. This is now the best rotation in baseball. Sorry, Seattle, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was Seattle. Then it was like, oh, maybe Philly's going to sneak in and take it. Now it's like, nope, it is clearly LA with the best rotation in baseball because, I mean, like you said, it's Shohei, and who knows what you're going to get out of Shohei. Is he going to be a full-time starting pitcher? Is he going to pitch, every couple of goes? Like, who knows what they're going to do with him? But still, you've got Shohei, Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, Sasaki. There's your primary 5. And oh, by the way, behind them are Gonsolin and May. Gonsolin, who was on pace to win 20 games as a rookie before he got hurt.
Yep.
Like, these are good pitchers. Like, these are not scrubs looking for that would be looking for a job around the league. These are guys we penciled in as 2 and 3 starters in many cases somewhere else,
if not an ace.
I mean, potentially aces.
Crazy. So the potential fallout of this signing, Harrison, I will let you take this because you know all the numbers, you know everything, but go ahead and run with this.
Yeah, so this got really interesting late yesterday. There are some reports coming out that there are some front offices that are pissed about how this went down, and the belief around the league, and I think we all believe it too, is that he had made his decision before he even came over. Like he knew he was signing with the Dodgers. He then made his announcement and was posted, and then he did this dog and pony show to make it look like he was being a real free agent. The belief around the league was he already had a deal with the Dodgers in place before that whole process started, and that they potentially negotiated that through Shohei. Now, the whole piece with Shohei, that's highly speculative based on what a couple of front offices believe, but it doesn't matter. The belief is he was already kind of pre-agreed to sign with the Dodgers and then went through this whole process to make it look like he was being a free agent. The Dodgers only were able to offer him the 5 point something million signing bonus, which was significantly less than the Blue Jays were offering, and it was half of what the Padres were offering. Everybody but the Dodgers had a better offer out there. And ultimately he took the lesser offer to go to the Dodgers, which the whole league is saying smells foul because he was adamant early on that it wasn't about the Dodgers. It wasn't, he wanted to be his own person and carve his own path and be the best pitcher and blah, blah, blah. But everything he said, he completely went and 180'd when he signed with the Dodgers. So there are several teams expected to ask the league to investigate that this was already a done deal. I don't know how you prove that, but at least it's going to shake some trees and see what happens. But if that's the case, then his free agency and his posting would be invalid and he would have to go back. We'll see what falls out here, but the Dodgers did not have the money to make him the best offer, not even close. He was believed all along to go to the Dodgers, and he did. He insisted he wouldn't because he wanted to be his own person. Didn't seem to matter. So as you add everything up and follow the path of this, people are just saying it doesn't smell right. He was always going to go there. He's taken a way less deal, which the Players Association is also kind of wondering, like, what's that all about? Why are you taking so much less?
Right.
Because that's the other piece of this too, is the Players Association can look at the contract and go, why are you taking less? This isn't good for all the players overall. You should be looking for the better deal. So this whole thing could get interesting. I'm not sure if the teams will actually do it. It was reported yesterday that there are several that were considering making the call. You know, they may or may not. They don't have to, but there's definitely a sense around the league that he was tampered with, and there's not a lot of goodwill towards the Dodgers right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's part of it, right? I mean, I would go out on a limb and say that the other 29 teams in the league right now are not exactly thrilled with what the Dodgers are doing overall. Not just this instant, but just overall. Like they're getting everybody, they're deferring money, they're making signing bonuses, anything to not let their luxury tax threshold take a hit. Like, and the other teams are looking at this and being like, we don't like what's going on. And now this on top of it just looks weird. Like to me, I was fine with it. Like, okay, he wants to go. And then the international money came out and I was like, okay, they have the 29th highest. That means there's only, I mean, lowest. Sorry. Yep. That's supposed to say lowest, not highest. My bad. So there was only one team underneath them that had less international pool money to spend. And he still ends up going there. That to me is a little fishy. I don't know. I think it all has to do with what the Dodgers are doing as a whole is why the rest of the league is pissed. And then you add this on top of it, and it's just, you know, it's a waterfall effect. And it's like, oh, now we're dealing with this too. Like
it is. And I think back to, you know, as New Englanders, you know, we grew up in the Patriots dynasty. And there were players that came to Foxborough and took less money because they wanted to win. They wanted to ring chase. And for many of them, it worked out great. And for others, you know, Randy Moss didn't work out so great. But like, there's a certain level of that happens. You know, you go and play with your buddies. You go find the best opportunity to win, maybe take a little less money. But now you're seeing a pattern of guys taking less money to go play there, which the Players Association isn't loving either. the players, people are thinking the Players Association is applauding because of the size of the contracts. In fact, the Players Association throughout all this is not liking what the Dodgers are doing because guys are taking under market contracts to go there and they're deferring a bunch of money. And getting paid 10 years down the road is not like getting paid now. Sure, the AAV looks awesome, but you're not getting the money now. Yeah. So like there's a lot of what's going on in LA the Players Association doesn't love. And players around the league don't love that either. Because now you're building up AAVs with deferred money in it, which is going to make market pricing harder in the future. And, there's now a level of expectation. You're going to have to defer money to get these bigger deals, which guys don't want to do. So there's a lot of other ramifications to what the Dodgers are doing. The Dodgers aren't breaking any rules unless this Sasaki thing is true. The Dodgers are just exploiting the opportunity in front of them, which is right. They've got the second highest revenue in baseball. They are double the league average in terms of revenue. Their payroll is now higher than more than 50% of teams' revenue across the league. They're doing things nobody else can do because they sit in a market like Los Angeles. If you took this same genius front office and dropped him in Kansas City, they can't do this. Like you can't play this game if you don't have $600 million a year rolling in revenue. You can't play this game. Yeah. And that's why it's so irritating to talk to Dodgers fans. Well, because they're like, well, everybody else can do it. No, they can. Like the Dodgers are at a point now where their payroll is larger than their revenue of more than half the teams in the league. So unless owners are going to start writing several $100 million worth of personal checks into the team to operate, they can't do this. It's just you're not playing with the same rules. You're not playing with the same circumstances. And the Dodgers are doing what nobody else can do. I applaud them for going all in like they are. I mean, they're going to build a dynasty and they're probably going to win several World Series over the next few years. It doesn't mean that it's good for baseball or even good for the players.
Yeah. Yeah. You're telling me the Colorado Rockies can do this? There's no freaking way. There's no way.
Yeah.
I just don't understand that. Like, I don't understand that argument. Oh, every other team can do it. Just like you said, there's no possible way.
Can't.
No possible way. Even a market like the Red Sox, do they have the money to do it? Yeah, possibly. They could. But it's also not good business, really, because you're kind of setting your team up for 10 to 20 years of failure after those contracts are done.
Yes, the Nationals, how that works out.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not the Dodgers, because like you said, they have the indispensable income that keeps rolling in. But if another team does that, to my point, if they defer all those contracts, after Shohei leaves Tampa Bay, right? Tampa Bay's toast. Like up for sale, like they have to mortgage the franchise, everything. Like they wouldn't be able to financially recover from it. Dodgers can, but not like to your point again, not every team can do this. It's crazy.
No, and you've now reached the point where the talent level of the team is so high that guys are just like, I want to go ring chase. How do I get on that roster?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about here in a minute. Tanner Scott, again, took a lesser offer than was offered to go to the Dodgers. Why? Because he wants to go chase a ring.
Yep.
And again, like I said, we saw with the Patriots, guys would take less money to come play in New England because they want to be part of the Brady Belichick dynasty. And it worked out for some and not for others. The hard part was like that was one or two here and there on a 53-man roster. It wasn't 4 or 5 on a 26-man roster. And you got a guy like Tanner Scott, who is a high-end relief pitcher, back of the bullpen stopper, who is going to take, it was like 10 or 15% less money to go to LA because he wants to chase a ring.
Yeah. And, we have talked about this in leagues in weeks prior, is when does the league step in or the MLBPA step in and say, yeah, we can't do that. Like your market values this, like you have to try to seek this. Like, I know ultimately it's up to the teams to sign, and it's the player's decision. They are free agents. They can do whatever the heck they want. Like I get that point. But at what point does the MLBPA step in and say, hey, dude, you're worth more than this. You can't go there unless you get this value.
Yeah. And I think you're going to start to see some of those conversations being had. And the Players Association starting to push back on some of these guys to say, why are you doing it? Like, Tanner Scott, $20 million signing bonus, which is great for him. He got it up front. It's going to take the luxury hit down, but $21 million deferred. So again, a third, 30% of the contract is going to get deferred. And now the Dodgers are creeping up at $1.1 billion in deferred money over the next 10 years, which the Dodgers can afford. And when deferred money is on a contract, it gets escrowed. Like the money, it's not like the Dodgers have to like magically come up with the money down the road. They're paying it right now. It's getting set aside. But it's reaching the point now where I think you're going to see MLBPA start to ask some questions about what's with all the deferred money contracts. Why are we doing this, guys? Stop letting these teams dictate your contractual terms. Get paid. Like Juan Soto did it.
Yeah.
Juan Soto's got 0 nickels deferred because he said, I'm not going to play that game. Yeah. These guys can choose to do that too, but I think the problem is the Dodgers are sitting in a spot where that team is so strong. Guys like, I don't care. Just sign me up. Like, I want to be there. I want to go win a ring. Which is great. The next 5 years, this team's going to go off and probably win 3 or 4 World Series in 5 years, get a bunch of guys rings. And then what?
I don't know. It puts in a league that prides themselves in parity, right? We haven't had a repeat World Series winner in 27 years or something insane.
Yeah, it was the Yankees.
Like that. Yeah. We haven't had a repeat winner, back-to-back champions in that many years.
What, 2000? Is 99 2000?
Yeah, that has to be. So 24 years, 25 years, whatever. Like, yes, they're building a dynasty. They're building that Yankees dynasty that they had in the late 90s, early 2000s. But the league prides themselves on parity, and you're not getting parity now. Like, everybody's going to LA. Because of that reason, they want to win rings, and I get it. As a player, I want to taste the pinnacle at some point in my career, right? I want to be at the top at one point. I get it. I totally understand it. And like you said, if I'm a Dodgers fan, I love it. If I'm the other 29 teams in the league, it's old. It's already old, and they are the new evil umpire.
They are, and you look around that roster, and so you look at the Yankees dynasty of the late 90s, and they had a lot of homegrown guys. You had a lot of guys that came into the system. They were Yankees from the beginning. And then of course you layered on superstars that you needed to put in place. But like that roster had a fair amount of homegrown talent on it. Yeah. This Dodgers roster now has like none. Like you go around that lineup. It's Will Smith bought, Freddie Freeman bought, Kim bought, Edmund bought, Mookie Betts bought, Max Muncy, I think, came up with them, if I remember correctly. So he might be the only homegrown guy left. Conforto bought, Teoscar Hernandez bought, Shohei bought, Yamamoto bought, Sasaki bought, Snell bought, Glasnow bought. Like, you don't have any of these guys anymore. You've got, I think, a couple of relievers and Muncy.
Max Muncy came up with the A's 2015.
Oh, that's right. He did.
Yeah. But
that's right.
I think, I don't know if he was bought, though. He might have been like non-tendered. And then
I think he's a guy. I mean, I'll give them credit because he was not like a household name when he came over, but
no,
he's still probably not a household name. But anyways, but everybody on that roster now, besides Muncy and a couple of relievers, they've all been bought. Like, this is an organization that for years was developing players and rolling players out that were from the system. Gavin Lux was a big one. It was year after year. It was, they were rolling guys up because they had really good player development.
James
and now
Outman.
That's right. Now they've just thrown that all to the wind.
Yeah.
James Outman. What happened to James Outman? Like, where is he?
Pushed out, pretty much.
Right. Just he got forced out to make room for more of these guys they bought. Like, that's an entirely bought and paid for team. It is 26 hired guns. That is, it's 26 hired guns that are out there for one reason and one reason only: to win.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's just keep the conversation going.
Let's roll.
Where does the league or the rest of the teams go from here?
Well, like I joked to you before we went on the air, home, because I don't think there's any point in showing up in February because you already know what the outcome is. Yeah. Now, is that extreme? Yeah. I mean, it's baseball. You still have to play. I mean, the Yankees for all of the early 2000s bought teams like crazy and couldn't get it done. But they never I mean, we're at like epic levels of payroll right now. You're at $375 million in payroll, not counting the deferrals. This is a $400+ million team.
Well,
Like,
and this might be the best team ever assembled, period.
I mean, other than an outfield that looks pretty weak on paper, there's no holes in that team.
No.
None. I mean, Conforto, not exciting. Pajes and shortstop and center field, not exciting. Teoscar, he's Teoscar. Otherwise, that might be the one. That's the best pitching rotation in baseball. Could be one of the best of all time. That's the best bullpen in baseball. Could be one of the best of all time. And that is one of the better lineups you'll see all time. Could end up being the best of all time. This is a team that literally could flip the White Sox record last year and win 120 something games. And they should. Like, honestly, I made a comment on a post and I got a bunch of crap from Dodgers fans. I said, this is a team where anything less than a World Series win's a complete and utter disaster for them.
1,000%.
And I was getting crap from Dodgers fans like, well, how'd that work out for you last year? The Dodgers did what they're supposed to do. They won the World Series. And that's what I'm saying this year. The Dodgers need to do what they're supposed to do, which is win the World Series. You can't spend that kind of money on a team, bring in that kind of talent, and mortgage your future like they have and not win right now. They need to win every single year before the window closes.
I agree. Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. I'm not stating anything other than the facts. If they don't win, it's a failure.
They honestly don't even have any excuses to lose any series, period, this year.
No, that's
zero excuses.
That's a team that should win 120 to 130 games
easily.
Like, it shouldn't even be a contest.
No, I agree.
I mean, you're rolling an all-star team out against the Colorado Rockies. If you don't win all three by 10 plus each, I don't know what you're doing. Yeah. And I think the only thing that's going to help visiting teams is the fact they're going to sell tickets for people to come in and see this sideshow, because that's what this team is going to become. They're going to become a circus sideshow. They are going to come in with all this talent. They're going to roll through town. It's like when the Harlem Globetrotters come to town. They're going to roll through town, absolutely pound your brains in, and then leave. Yeah. And people are going to want to just come see it, to see that they were able to experience what that looks like.
Yeah. So what do the rest of the teams in the league do, though? Like, how do they try to? I mean, you're not going to, quote unquote, stay up with the Dodgers.
You're not.
But what do you do to get a competitive team on the field?
I mean, if I'm a general manager of another team, I'm gonna roll my best 26 players out there, and I'm gonna roll the dice and take my chances, knowing full well that I'm showing up to a gunfight with a knife, and that is the nature of where you are. I mean, Mike makes the comment of traveling all-star team. That's kind of what they're. It's like a barnstorming all-star team. Yeah. This is something we've never seen before, and it's going to be a sideshow people want to watch. But as a GM of another team, I'm just going to say, here's my best 26. Here's my best shot. I'm going to take it, knowing full well I'm not armed to fight this team. I'm not. No. And what I'll be interested to see, though, is our teams going to get creative? Are you going to see teams bunting on them, stealing on them, hitting and running on them? Like, are you going to see teams like do more to try to create chaos? Because that's the one probably Achilles heel of this Dodgers team. They're not a great defensive team. They don't have a lot of guys that can catch the ball real good. They've got some guys. Right. They've got some guys. Mookie's been very shaky at shortstop. Max Muncy's very shaky. Freddie's solid. Will Smith is shaky at times. Like, that outfield's not great. Like, you can take advantage of them defensively. Like, our team's going to get creative and make them work for the win. Because I hope we don't see teams just roll over and die.
No.
Oh, Dodgers for 3 games. All right, well, here we go. Let's just take our whooping, and then we'll move on to the next one. Like, I hope teams come out and say, no, screw these guys. Like, if they're going to come in here and take all 3 from us, we're going to make them work for it.
There is a team in the NL West, and I know this is kind of a homer statement for me, but the Arizona Diamondbacks are equipped to be that kind of pesky team. There's a lot of speed on that team. They got guys that can bunt. They got guys that can hit for power. Like, they can go into Dodgers and give them a run for their money. I think the Diamondbacks could compete with them. I keep making the joke that all the talent is going to the NL West, which, Josh Naylor just went there from the Guardians. So, like,
feels like it is.
Yeah. I think the Arizona Diamondbacks might be the only team in that division that could give them a little bit of what you were just talking about, the bunt and run, the hit and run, all that stuff to put the pressure on.
The Braves can probably do it a little bit. The Phillies can mash with them, I think. I mean, I think there's a handful of teams. I mean, the Dodgers are not like on an island by themselves.
Right.
I think there are a few teams. I think the Yankees can hang with them. I think the Red Sox could probably hang with them if they can make another move. The Phillies, the Braves, maybe the Padres. Like I think, and the Diamondbacks. Like there's going to be teams that can hang around and battle with them, but that's it. Like you're talking about maybe 5 or 6 teams have a legitimate shot of beating them. And honestly, the Dodgers are going to beat all of them 2 times out of 3. Yeah. And at a minimum 4 times out of 7.
Yeah.
So like I still think that the Dodgers are clearly the best team in baseball, but they're not. There are some teams that are going to give them trouble. Yeah. But on a night-to-night basis, when they're rolling through the schedule and they're stopping in St. Louis and Kansas City and Milwaukee, like they're going to steamroll those teams. Yeah. Just steamroll them. And as a GM and as a manager, you have to decide, we're not just going to lay here and take it. Like we're going to make these guys work for it.
Yeah.
And you may actually find that additional stress from games like that may wear that team down because they've got a huge target on their back now. They're going to come into town and they're going to get everybody's best shot.
Yep. As they should.
As they should.
Yeah.
And for years we used to laugh. The Dodgers were kind of a joke in the sense that like they'd win 101 games and then lose in the first round of the playoffs. Like they still have to get it done. These guys still have to show up and get it done. And they did not have an easy path to the World Series. They almost got knocked out by the Padres. The Mets took them to the limit. They didn't just like steamroll through. Right. So they still have to get it done. But it's going to be really hard for any other team to stand there toe to toe with them for a 7-game series and live to tell about it.
Yeah. All right. So then on the flip side, where does the league go from here? Does the league step in at any point here and try to fix this?
The league has no standing at this point to step in and do anything about it. Rob Manfred, I don't think, has the stones to get in the middle of this. He's looking at retirement in 3 or 4 years. I think that the owners are going to be the ones that force the hand for a conversation when the CBA comes up. Is it 26?
Yeah, end of 26, I think.
Yeah, so I think that the showdown is in a couple years.
Okay.
If the Dodgers are probably still doing this, they're probably still carrying all this deferred money and then some. And I think that because you've got a large portion of owners who are tired of it, and the Pirates had their big Winterfest this weekend, and they were asked about the state of competition in baseball and what do they think, and basically the response was, we can't compete in the current state of baseball. We're going to try to do things, but like nobody's coming here when they can get so much more somewhere else. Right. And then a chant for sell the team started, and they said, Bob Nutting's not selling the team. Like he's going to continue to own this team. It is what it is. We're playing the hand we've been dealt.
Right.
We can't do a lot more than we're doing currently because we don't have the revenue of a team like the Dodgers. We don't have the financial backing of a team like the Dodgers. We can't, could we do this for 1 year? Sure. We could do it for 1 year, but then we got to unload everything because you can't, it's not sustainable.
Yeah, you would have to do the 97 and 2003 Marlins. Buy everybody for 1 year, hope you win, and then ship them out.
Go for broke and unload.
Yep. Which, I mean, Pirates fans probably would be happy with that at this point.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. The league has to do something. Like you said, I don't think it will happen until after the CBA is over, which is the 26th into the 27th season. And we've said it the last few weeks, could be in for a long lockout because I don't see the owners being happy where baseball is right now. Because like you said, they can't compete.
They can't.
Not even the next tier down from the Dodgers can't even compete.
No.
Goodness gracious. Something will be done. I just don't know what. Are they going to put in the salary cap? Are they going to put it in the salary floor? Like a hard cap, a hard floor? Are they going to do something about the deferred money? Only a certain percentage of it can be deferred. Because the Dodgers should have to pay heavy for the payroll that they have now.
They're on pace to write like $150 million check next year in luxury tax because this will be the third time offenders. at a level that escalates a whole nother rung, they're going to be paying like 125% of what they're over just in punishment. I mean,
But
it's going to
even
be an
then,
insane check.
but even then, that's a joke.
Well, it is. I
That's
mean,
10 cents in their couch.
this team's 375 million right now with deferrals. If you add some of the deferrals back, they're more like 450 is what this team's actually worth. They're going to write a check for 150 million. You're at 600 million. I mean, that's their revenue. It's a dollar for dollar revenue. So they've just got to pay. They've got to pay out of pocket for their operating costs. Not a huge lift for these guys.
No.
It's you're on a different level. If these guys need to put in a couple $100 million to keep the thing floating for a year, spread across 4 billionaires, they're going to do it. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Harrison's actually the one that said that the Yankees bought all the talent in the 2000s, just to clear that up. But he's the brains in this.
Nick,
outfit.
Take the credit, man.
No, it's all good. But you're right. I mean, they still have to go out and play the game, John.
They're going to go win.
I completely get, and baseball's a funny game. One bounce off a pebble and the game's over. Like it can switch on a dime like that. I get it.
Not to pile on the Mariners, who we love so much, but like best team of all time. Did they win? Nope.
Yep.
They didn't.
So I mean, I get you still have to go out and play the game. Like and baseball, I say it all the time. Like the baseball gods are cruel, and maybe the Dodgers do have it coming to them. I don't know. But when you assemble all this talent on your team, the chances of that happening are slim to none.
Yeah, I heard somebody describe it. Might have been Jeff Passan. It might have been Chris Rose. I can't remember. Somebody made the comment of, you still have to go play the game, but every notch up that payroll measure that you go, you're just lowering the risk of not being able to get it done.
Right. Exactly.
Like it's not about like it's a sure thing, lock it and load it. But no, it's like you're just one more rung up the ladder of taking out some of that variability. Like we can survive a bad bounce with all these players. We're going to get enough bounces to go our way that we can sustain a couple bad ones.
Yeah, agree. All right, let's get off the Dodger train for a minute and get on the Pete Alonso train.
To the Dodgers tomorrow.
I mean, goodness gracious. So Mets seem to be moving on from him. They signed Jesse Winker for 1 year. I put this at the bottom because I forgot that Alonso turned this down.
Yeah.
7 years, 158 extension last summer. Not looking like a good decision now.
No, looking like a very bad choice.
Yeah. So what happens with Pete Alonso?
I mean, this was funny. You and I were laughing because he had gone back and given the Mets the super special offer of 3 years with like an opt-out. He literally like he offered back to the Mets and like made them an offer, which players don't normally make offers, teams do. So he basically negotiated against himself to give the Mets a sweetheart deal, and they said, "Nah, Pete, actually we're good." So what a weird situation. But I think Pete's on the outside looking in, and he's gonna have to go find somebody who's gonna offer him a season or two at probably a discounted rate. He's got to go prove that he's not going to fall off like they all think. Not going to be easy to do because I don't think people are worried about the next couple of years. I think they're worried about years like 4, 5, and 6.
Agree.
So I think he's going to have to go explore other options. And for last I heard, the Giants are still out there sniffing around. They'd be interested. I thought the Mariners would be in on him, but apparently their checkbook's been lost, and they're not sure how to spend money. So I don't know where he goes from here. There's not a line of people waiting to talk to Pete Alonso. There's not a bunch of offers out there waiting to come in. I think right now, here we are, January 19th. I don't think he has an offer in hand that he could actually take and go play somewhere when spring training opens up. And that's a surprising situation.
Agree. Do you know where I see him kind of going possibly?
Yeah.
Colorado.
Yeah. Kind of
Now think about this. He's going to go there, hit 550-foot bombs, right? His offensive numbers
probably hit 50 bombs too.
Right. His offensive numbers will inflate a little bit, right? I mean, this is a far-fetched prediction here. I don't think the Rockies would do it, but he might be looking at a team like that. Like the Rays might
Chicago White Sox.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. He's being offered so little and there's no interest. He's going to be like, I just need a job. At this point, I don't even care who.
Yeah.
Like, just get me signed.
And he may have to sign like a Bellinger deal, like give me a 3-year deal, but it'll be a bunch of opt outs. Basically, it's a series of 1-year contracts. But I need a place to go sit, and he needs a place where he can go where that's going to fit his game well, though.
Right.
If he goes to we'll pick on Seattle again. If he goes to Seattle and hits 27 home runs and drives in 60 because that team can't score and the ballpark's too big, that's not going to help his value down the road.
Right.
He needs to go to a ballpark like a Fenway, like a Coors, where like his fly ball pull power is going to play well.
Right.
And that might limit where he can go. I mean, I'd love to see him go to like the Royals and DH, like just go hit 50 bombs in Kansas City. Like you'd be a rock star.
Yeah.
Go to Cleveland. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't think teams like that really, they're like, is Pete Alonso going to help us? No. So why are we going to pay him? Like,
right.
we're not going to the playoffs. So I don't know what he's going to be left with. I think that, the Blue Jays clearly don't need a first baseman. They got Vladdy. They're good there because they'd be an interesting opportunity. I mean, I think you got the Giants out there sniffing around. I don't know where the Padres are at, but I think they're out of money. I don't see a lot of landing spots for Pete.
I don't either. And I don't even have the slightest guess anymore. Like I thought the Mets was a done deal. Soto signed. I'm like, all right, Alonso's going back to the Mets. No questions asked. And it's just like, then it comes out. He's like, no, I want a 6-year deal. And the Mets are like, no, like
that's
it's just
after they offered him a 7. They're like, no, we're not giving you 6.
Right. Now. Right. So like, I'm completely lost. I don't have the slightest guess. Does anybody in the chat has any insight on where they think Alonso's going? More than welcome to fire it at us because I'm lost here.
Yeah, I don't
clue.
I look around the league and I think there's maybe 1 or 2 teams that are still showing any interest. Other than that, I don't know what becomes of him. But if I'm him, I'm not feeling real good a month out from spring training, not having a viable offer in my hand and not having any idea where I'm playing next year.
Do the Angels take a look? Do the Athletics take a look? I mean, Athletics still got to get up over that 100 million threshold.
He can probably pump balls out of a minor league ballpark, right?
Yeah, I would hope so. As long as he's not facing high velocity pitching.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll be shocked, and a team like that will sneak in and grab him on a 1-year deal and let him run on kind of a prove it tour or something. I don't know. I did not think Pete would get what he was asking for because I think he was asking for too much, but I also didn't think he'd get nothing.
Right.
And at this point, I'm a little surprised that we are where we are. And the Mets basically told Pete, we're good. Thanks. See ya.
Yeah. Crazy.
I do feel like the Mets thing is not totally dead, but they're going to expect him to come back very humbled before they pick up conversation again.
Agree. All right. So the Mets re-signed Jesse Winker 1 year, $8 million. This was came out right after, Pete Alonso.
Immediately.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we're just going to re-sign Jesse Winker here for insurance policy. And then they also pick up AJ Minter from the Braves for 2 years, $22 million to bolster that bullpen a little bit. So how are we feeling about the Mets? Are they, I still think their rotation is a question mark. I know Kodai Senga, they want him to be the ace. They re-signed Manaea. And then you got a lot of question marks with Montas and Holmes. You add Minter to the bullpen, probably 8th inning setup guy. That's my guess in front of probably. Diaz.
Or at least a left-handed option late in the game.
Right, exactly. How are we feeling about what the Mets are doing?
I feel like the Mets are continuing to do what we've been frustrated by since they signed Soto, which is sign guys on the fringe and hope that things work out. And hope to me is not a great strategy when you just dropped $750 million on a marquee cornerstone player.
Yeah.
I don't want to hope that my pitching is enough or hope that my starting pitching can get it done or hope it's going to hold together. But I think that's where the Mets are, and David Stearns said a month ago, we're not going to make any more significant financial commitments at this point. And he's been right. They have not. No. They do not want to go beyond 3 years with anybody. They do not want to sign any big contracts. And I think that Pete's victim number one of that, because they don't want to go beyond 3 years. He even offered him 3 years, but he wanted more money, and it didn't work for them. But they've been consistent. They did not want to make any more big financial commitments, and they have not. They're going to roll with who they got. And I don't know that I'm still in the boat of I don't think that's a playoff team. I don't. I think they're going to just miss and be on the outside looking in.
I agree with you. I was trying to see when Lindor's contract was up. He is not till 2032.
Oh yeah, for a while.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean they're the third best team in the AL East. That's kind of where they stand. So yeah, sorry, NL East, the third best team in the NL East right now.
Yeah.
I don't think that's where they thought they'd be.
Yeah, agree.
But I don't see how they thought they'd be any better than that, given who they have in front of them.
Right.
And the moves they've made.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to let you take this Jarren Duran one too, because he was like up for arbitration, right? Almost went to a hearing.
Yeah. So yeah, just before the hearing, they came to terms. So I mentioned Nick. I say, hey, we got to talk about this because I made the comment on the show maybe 2 weeks ago. I think we were together for that one, where I feel like Craig Breslow is showing that he's in over his head. And he's made some moves that haven't made a lot of sense. He's given up too much in terms of value for Crochet. He gave Bueller a straight 1 year deal, no options, no nothing. They've been slow to react. I feel like Breslow is showing that he's a little bit over his head, which maybe he should be because he has not been a GM or chief baseball officer or president of baseball, whatever the hell they call him, for very long. But this one struck me as funny because this one's going to come back, I think, and bite them. So Jarren Duran came off of one of the best seasons we've seen in a long time from a Red Sox player, period.
Agree.
Top 5 player last year when it came to WAR and a lot of the advanced metrics. So he's looking for $4 million in arbitration. The Red Sox are only going to offer $3.5 million. They go back and forth, and the Red Sox say, "Yeah, no, we're not negotiating anymore, kid. We'll see you at the hearing." So Craig Breslow laughs us off to the press. Said, "No big deal. We have these hearings all the time. We have a great relationship with Jarren. No worries." They're marching towards the hearing, and then all of a sudden they come to terms with the deal. $3.75 million is a $100,000 buyout of the option, so it makes it $3.85 million, and they've added an $8 million option for 26 to it to not do this again next year. Keep in mind, it's an option. They can decline the option to go to arbitration if he has a bad season, so the Red Sox are very much hedging their bets. But my comment to Nick was, are you really going to jam this kid up over $500,000 when you're the friggin' Red Sox?
Right.
After the season he just had and the importance he may have to you, and the fact he's going to be looking for a real contract here in a year or two. Like, I don't suspect he's going to forget that you made him beg for $500,000 and then split the difference with him just before the hearing. Like, this is a situation where I think the Red Sox are pushing a little bit like a small market team on a tight budget when they don't have to. Right. And all they're going to do is piss off a key player who, when it comes time for contract discussions, is going to want his pound of flesh back.
Mm-hmm.
And this Red Sox front office the last couple of years has been such a quagmire, and it's been a disorganized, uncontrolled mess. And they finally seem to get it together this offseason, but they are showing signs of dysfunction from within. And this is the kind of stuff that not only does Jarren Duran take note of it, but players who are thinking about coming here take note of how they're treated. And this is not how the Red Sox did things for all those years in the 2000s when they were winning. This is not the kind of baseball team they were. And I think it's a dangerous game they're playing. And I think it's partially this ownership group is being super cheap, giving a little, but being cheap. And I think Breslow's in over his head because they continue to make these missteps in how they handle situations. Now, maybe Jarren Duran will be happy as hell when they throw a big offer at him to keep him, but maybe he won't be. And maybe this situation is going to come back to bite him.
Yeah. I just don't understand it. Just like you said, $500,000. The dude was top 5 in almost every single offensive category, I think, other than home runs last year.
Yeah, it was a monster.
On-base machine at the top of your lineup. He's setting the pace for your lineup, getting on base in front of Devers, all those guys. And you're dicking him around. Like, I don't understand that. Like you said, fork it over and deal with it later. But like you said, when it comes up to be a free agent, Duran's going to be like, "Nah, I don't want to talk contract extensions with you guys. Like, I saw how this went. Like, I'll go get my money somewhere else. Some other team will pay me.
Or I'll come to you guys last because I don't want to get treated like that again. Like, or maybe I don't come back at all. Maybe I give it the Saquon Barkley treatment and say I'm going to come back, but I don't because I think you're a bunch of tools.
Right.
I mean, this is a guy who just came off an 8.7 WAR season.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the game you're playing with him over $500,000 when he's only asking for $4 million.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't like he's getting something like Soto got last year with 30 million.
Right.
He's asking for $4 million.
Or even the Vladdy, what was it, 19.8 or something like that?
Yeah,
like,
just shy of $20 million. I mean, this is not that.
right.
And it sat so poorly with me, and it sits so poorly with so many others. There were a few other articles written about it, so other people have taken note, but it's like, this poor mindset from the Red Sox of, like we don't have any money. The guy just raked for you and had one of the best seasons you've seen in a long time, and you're gonna make him beg for $500,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's on a grander scale, but their dealings with Mookie Betts after 2018. It's like, like this guy is proven to be a perennial MVP candidate. He's homegrown. You have to empty your purses and your safes to keep this guy in Boston, and you didn't, and you got crap back for him. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand it. He's homegrown, wins MVP all the time, can play anywhere on the field, top 3 player in baseball, and the Red Sox are like, nah, we'll offer him this low ball, knowing that he won't take it. I hate it. I hate how the front office is doing that. It's dumb. It really is. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I just think it's silly.
Just
to play a game like that with a player that's that important.
Right. And stop feeding the fans a bunch of bull. Like, stop feeding us like, oh, we're trying to compete. We're trying to do right by you guys and try to put a successful team on the field. When you do stuff like this, you're telling us you're not. Like, Red Sox fans aren't dumb. We can see through the smoke screen. Like, I don't understand it. And like you said, $4 million. It's not like he's asking for the moon here.
Right.
Just sign the deal.
Exactly. Exactly. For once, give him what he's asking for and make him feel good, because he just came off a major season for it, and he should.
Yeah.
But
crazy.
I don't know. I think that Red Sox front office is more dysfunctional than meets the eye. And it's stuff like that we see that makes you go, oh yeah, like there's problems. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yep. All right. Well, the Mariners did open their checkbooks, Harrison.
Woo, nice
they
job.
Signed Donovan Solano, 1 year, $3.5 million. And when we were talking a couple weeks ago, it's definitely not what we were thinking when we said the Mariners need hitting.
I mean, maybe we should have been more clear, Nick. I think we said a bat, any bat.
I think
that's what they just signed. So.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to Donovan Solano. He's a major leaguer, congrats, bud.
Right.
That's not what the Mariners need. They need like a Pete Alonso stat. They need a Santander stat, not a Solano stat.
Agree.
I mean, but at least we now know the Mariners front office is actually open. They are conducting business.
No, this was just a message left on their machine.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So crazy.
Unreal.
All right. So back to the Red Sox real quick. The Red Sox traded for Blake Sable, who was a Giants catching prospect that comes over just in exchange for international pool money to the Giants. It's interesting because the Red Sox do have Connor Wong. They just signed
Narvaez.
Thank you, Omar Narvaez. And then they trade for Blake Sable here.
Well, I think, and I sent you the link. Like the day before, there was an article about like how they were excited to have Narvaez as their backup catcher, and they're excited about the potential he has. And then the news about Sable broke, and I'm like, Nick, help me understand this. Like yesterday, they're in love with Narvaez, and today they got Sable coming in, and now it's an open competition. I don't understand how we got here, but cool.
Yeah, I don't think Blake Sable's really been. Well, I mean, obviously, if he's just been traded for international pool money, he's kind of not.
Yeah, I mean, he's played 300. He's got 382 career plate appearances in 120 games.
Yeah,
Not a guy with a big sample set. I think he had a whopping 38 plate appearances last season.
yeah,
So not a guy who's a backup for a year, played a little bit last year. He'll be at spring training and he's got a shot to become the backup. My guess is he probably ends up at AAA and fills the hole that Kyle Teal left
right.
when he was dealt off. But I mean, it's never bad to have a couple of young catchers in the queue, considering you just traded away your top prospect catcher, Kyle Teal. So it was funny how quickly the how quickly the narrative changed.
Yeah, it does give the Red Sox that left-handed bat, like platoon catching bat,
Yeah.
which they did weirdly with McGuire. Like
Yep.
so. I don't know. It'll be interesting, but I think Narvaez is a lefty too. So I don't know. It was a weird one for me as well. I
Yeah.
agree.
Whatever. I mean, he's played a little bit of outfield. Maybe he's got some flexibility and they'll find a spot for him. Who knows? But if nothing else, it's never bad to have a couple of young catchers in spring training to see what they got.
Yeah, agree. All right. Athletics to sign 18-year-old Shotaro Mori. He's significant because he's bypassing Japanese baseball altogether. Oh, and he's a two-way player, shortstop and right-handed pitcher. He'll start in rookie ball in Mesa, Arizona. So I mean, still crazy, crazy young, but I did see some videos on this kid, and he just destroyed high school pitching.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was gonna say I saw some clips of him hitting and he mashes.
Yeah.
He mashes.
Yeah.
So it'd be fun to see what he can do with a wooden bat in his hand and some coaching and development. Because
Yep.
he is very much a teenager.
Yep. And they said he throws 95 at the moment. So I
Yeah,
think
that
he tops out at
doesn't
95.
suck.
No, it's all right. So yeah, could we see another two-way Japanese player in the major leagues? I think we're still a few years out from him, depending on what he does and how fast he moves up the minor leagues here. But
Now, how does that work? Because isn't Japan effectively the minor league organization of the Dodgers? Like, how do you sign somebody away from the Dodgers minor league system?
well, that's because he wasn't in the Japanese league yet. So you have to sign him before they hit the.
Got it.
the
Before they're old enough to sign with the Japanese league.
Yep, exactly.
Got it.
Crazy. All right, Harrison, we're gonna move on. I have 3 separate trivia segments for you tonight. So
Woo, all right.
strap up and get ready.
Oh boy.
All right.
Here we go.
So as you'll see, there will be a picture hidden behind with clues, and the clues get progressively easier as we go on, so you can figure out who the player is. In the chat, if you know who it is, go ahead and shout it out. So here we go. First one, American League, outfielder, played from 89 to 2010.
Junior.
It is junior. Home run derby win, Seattle Mariners, is your own Ken Griffey Jr. All right, here's the next one. National League, shortstop, Hall of Famer. Nope. Cincinnati Reds.
Larkin.
Barry Larkin. Yes. Good. I went pretty easy this week, but I'll get tougher with these as we move on.
Yeah,
but
we'll get into a flow here.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw these out at first to see how we did with them. So here we go. American League, Boston Red Sox, infield and outfield.
Just Rafaela?
Debuted in 2023. Ceddanne Rafaela. Nice job. Good one. All right, here we go. American League, first baseman, played from 97 to 2014.
Is that Konerko?
6-time All-Star, Paul Konerko.
I literally, somebody's asking about like your favorite White Sox first baseman of all time. I was like, it's Paul Konerko. I'd actually even take him over the Big Hurt. I just love Konerko.
Oh God, you'd take him over the Big Hurt.
I
love Konerko too, but I don't know if I can take him over Frank Thomas.
Yeah,
man,
I might be able to. We'll see.
All right, American League, Detroit Tigers and White Sox, only two teams he played for. Outfielder,
Oh, it's Maglio.
1997 to 2011, 294 career home runs. Maglio Ordonez. Nice.
I used to love watching him hit.
Yeah.
That boy could rake.
He was so good during that stretch, too. All right. American League. First baseman. Minnesota Twins.
Oh, big Kent Herbeck.
81 to 94. Yeah. One-time All-Star. Kent Herbeck.
Big Kent Herbeck.
Nice job. All right. American League. Mostly known for the A's. Other teams too, though. Home Run Derby winner.
Is it Miggy?
It is.
Okay.
Age? Question mark. 1997 to 2013. And shortstop is Miguel Tejada. Yes. Good.
Yeah. Age? Question mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many of those guys.
Yeah. So yeah, those ones were kind of fun to put together, but I want to get a little bit more obscure with the players, but I wanted to give you a taste of what they would look like.
Oh, I appreciate taking it easy on me the first time.
Yeah, but those were
the
kind
preview.
Of cool.
Those are fun. I like those.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Random MLB trivia, Harrison.
Okay.
The record for fewest home runs ever hit in a single season by a team was by the Chicago White Sox in 1908. How many team home runs did they hit? And I'll give you a hint, dude. Single digits.
Get out. I was gonna guess like 20. 9. We'll go 9.
Lower.
8.
Lower.
No, 7.
Much lower.
3.
3.
Get out.
3 team home runs.
Unreal. Like, wouldn't you accidentally hit 3 home runs?
I mean, you also got to think about what the size of the parks were back then, probably too. But
true, and a lot of those White Sox teams, probably a lot of like slap and tickle, trying to slap it and run.
Right. But I couldn't believe that stat. I was like, oh
3.
my
Holy
goodness. Yeah.
Man.
All right.
They should sign Pete Alonso.
No, he'd strike out too much. All right. Most consecutive games hitting at least one home run by a team is at 31 games, which happened by what team in 2019?
Is the color a clue?
Yes, sir.
Because I was going to say the Twins, but
it's not the Twins.
Yankees?
It is the Yankees. Yeah.
Makes sense.
31 consecutive games with a home run.
That's crazy. Pretty impressive. That you didn't face anybody that completely shut you down for a month.
Right. All right. Speaking of your Minnesota Twins here, the 2019 Minnesota Twins had 5 players hit over 30 home runs. Can you name them?
Oh man, I used to. Man, who was it? So was Dozier on that team?
It wasn't Dozier.
Wasn't Dozier.
Dozier was on the Nationals that year.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm trying to remember who the hell the players were. They had a catcher that did it.
Yep. This guy played for a lot of teams and just retired last year. Big righty power hitter. Played for the Rangers, the Padres, the Twins, Orioles for a little bit.
Like Trumbo?
Nope.
A guy like that?
A guy kind of like that, but he actually hit the most home runs in the 2010s. And it was a name that we couldn't believe.
Oh. Not where I was going. I was going down a different path with like Mitch Garver.
Mitch Garver is on the list. He was the catcher.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I knew there was a catcher. I couldn't think who it was. So it's Garver.
This guy DH for the Padres a couple of years ago and then retired.
Oh, Nelson Cruz?
Nelson Cruz. Yep.
That's right. He did a tour there. I'm pretty sure Eddie Rosario played the outfield.
Eddie Rosario is on the list. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Another guy just signed with the Phillies.
Oh, that's right. Kepler was there.
Yes, Max Kepler.
That's right.
And then
Garver, Kepler, Rosario. Cruz.
Cruz. Big third baseman. Like size-wise, massive.
What was his name? It started with an S. Sano.
Yes, Miguel Sano. Nice job,
Yeah,
Henderson.
he was a giant.
Yeah. Nelson Cruz, 41. Max Kepler, 36. Miguel Sano, 34. Eddie Rosario, 32. Mitch Garver, 31.
And like none of the names you'd expect to read off that list. Like that was the weird part of the 2019 Twins. Like it wasn't headline players. It was a bunch of guys that you're like, really? That guy hit 30?
Yeah. Crazy. All right. Little franchise record trivia here,
Ooh.
Harrison. Who holds the franchise record for most career triples for the Baltimore Orioles? And I'll give you a hint. Ichiro broke his all-time hit record, single season hit record.
So it wasn't Cal. Sisler.
Yes, it is George Sisler.
Yeah, the Ichiro hint helped me.
Yeah,
so I was like, man, there's a lot of guys who hit a lot of triples for the Orioles.
Yeah, that one was a tough one. But like, it's hard to do franchise records for the Orioles when it comes to offense because it's just like at bats, Cal, games, Cal, home runs, Cal, RBIs, Cal, walks.
So
Cal.
much of it's him.
Yeah,
so much of it's him.
Let's pick one that he's not the leader of.
Yeah, there's not many to choose from.
Yeah, and I think Sisler did this for the St. Louis Browns, which is still. They consider the Baltimore Orioles franchise because they moved to Baltimore.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So they honor the records there.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Who holds the franchise record for most career batting strikeouts for the Boston Red Sox? This is a guy that a lot of Red Sox fans say should be a Hall of Famer and is not.
Well, because I was going on the road of like Jim Rice, Don Baylor. But Baylor wasn't there that long.
You're in the right ballpark.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who from that group.
Played right field, had a pretty weird batting stance.
Weird batting stance. So not like Freddie Lynn. Who else from that group or that era? Who am I forgetting?
You're forgetting a pretty big one.
I know. Baylor, Jim Rice. Who else was in that group? It's killing me.
Yep. This is
Dwight Evans. My God. I'm like, who am I? There's another outfielder that I can't come up with.
Yeah.
It's freaking Dwight Evans.
Yeah. I was like, that was a little painful.
I kept going back to the D, and I kept coming back with Don Baylor, and I'm like, that's not who it is, though.
Yeah. Oh man, I thought you were gonna get it. You named everybody around him, but
that's why I'm like, there's another outfielder. Who am I missing?
Yeah.
There are times like you get in these questions, and you just have this like total block.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. But all right. Who holds the franchise record for most career stolen bases for the New York Yankees?
Stolen bases. Are we going like way back in time?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Stolen bases for the Yankees. Who stole a lot of bases for the Yankees?
Think more longevity.
Oh. Well, I mean, when it comes to longevity, the first guy that comes to mind is Jeter.
It is Derek Jeter.
358. All right. That's better than I would have thought. I mean, he did early in his career, he stole quite a few.
Yep. And like Ricky Henderson wasn't there long, but I think he was like right behind him. Like
probably was.
Yeah, crazy.
I'm looking it up.
Yep. 358, Derek Jeter.
Yeah, Ricky Henderson, 326.
Yeah.
right behind him.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Brett Gardner is a good one. Willie Randolph behind him. Okay, interesting. Yeah.
All right. Who holds a franchise record for most career walks by a batter for the Toronto Blue Jays?
Another guy who's probably going to be longevity.
Ish.
So go back to like Carlos Delgado walked a ton.
It is
Is
Delgado.
it Delgado? Okay.
Yeah, 827 walks.
Because like there's the Blue Jays for a long stretcher didn't have a lot of guys that stayed a long time. Like they had a lot of guys that were there for 4 or 5 years and then gone.
Yeah, it was like him and Vernon Wells, I think, were the staples for them for so long. And then kind of after them, Joey Bats was there. But yeah, when I think of that age Toronto, it's Vernon Wells and Carlos Delgado for sure, hands down.
Yep, and Delgado walked a ton.
Yeah, well, and
he
of
also
course
hit moonshots.
Yeah, and of course Halliday in these uniforms too. Those are the three I think about when I think of Toronto.
Yeah, again, like the sleeveless jersey tops, I loved those with the t-shirt underneath.
Absolutely,
and comfortable.
All right. Last one from franchise records. Here we go. Who holds a franchise record for highest career on base percentage, or OBP, for the Tampa Bay Rays / Devil Rays?
Oh boy. OBP.
This guy does have a World Series ring with the Chicago Cubs.
Oh, so like one of these. This is going to be like an original Devil Ray then?
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's think. So Longoria, not a high OBP guy.
Yep, not him.
Oh, what about our boy, the crime dog?
Nope, not Fred McGriff.
Oh.
Think middle infielder.
Oh, middle infielder.
Switch hitter.
Okay, it's not like a Bartlett, not a Lugo.
Second base.
Boy. Yeah. OBP?
Yeah, this one shocked me too. This one is Ben Zobrist with a 354.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Which isn't a crazy on base percentage.
I mean, it's not a super high percentage, to be honest, but
nope. But
Zobrist, I could see that. He was a pretty good on base guy.
Yep, absolutely.
And a friggin' super utility guy. The dude played everywhere.
Yep. All right, Harrison. Here's the next one. I have 2 more trivia segments here. So here we go. You have to name the player related to famous celebrities. So I'm going to give you the celebrity and how they're related. You got to tell me who the player is. So, first one. Marilyn Monroe's ex-husband.
Oh, Joey D.
Joe DiMaggio. Yep, good. Mia Hamm's husband.
Gee, I don't have any idea who that could be, Nick. Is it Nomar?
I thought it was Derek Jeter.
Oh,
Nomar Garciaparra. Yep, correct.
Maybe some nights it is.
Faith Hill's father-in-law.
Is that Tug McGraw?
Tug McGraw, good, nice. Halle Berry's ex-husband.
This one's a little controversial, isn't it? Dave Justice?
Yes, sir. Klay Thompson's brother.
His last name's obviously Thompson.
Yep.
He was with the Dodgers.
Yep.
Oh, it's not Justin or Justice or what was his first name? I cannot remember his first name to save my life. I remember him.
It is Trace Thompson.
Trace.
Yep, Trace. All right. Lin-Manuel Miranda's cousin.
I'm a huge Lin-Manuel Miranda fan too, by the way.
Look at the last name. Like the last of the hyphen names. It gives it away.
Oh. Miranda.
He just had a 12 consecutive at-bat hit streak last year.
Why can't I get his first name?
Not Hose B, but
Jose.
Yep, Jose Miranda.
I was just twisted. I'm like, Justin, Jeff, like what is his first name?
It's a J. Yep, for sure. All right, next Tom Brady's brother-in-law.
Oh, is it Uke?
It is Euclid. Good. Nice.
I always thought that was such a weird one.
Okay, these next two are kind of tricky. Are pretty hard. Jamie Lynn Sigler. She was on The Sopranos. Her
Oh.
father-in-law.
Ooh.
I'll have to give you clues for this one, I think. Leadoff hitter for the Phillies in the 90s. Center fielder.
Oh, was that Dalton?
No, he was a catcher.
Oh, yeah, Dalton's the catcher. Dykstra?
Dykstra, yes.
The other
Lenny
D.
Dykstra. Yeah,
The-
Lenny
not-
Dykstra.
Yeah,
Okay.
the other D.
Yep. Scott Baio's cousin.
Wow.
This
You're
one kind of
really pulling some out tonight.
this one kind of blew my mind. This one was kind of cool.
God, Baio's cousin.
His career path is Cardinals, Yankees, Mets, and recent center fielder.
Cardinals, Yankees, Mets.
Speedster. Right-handed batter.
Harrison Bader?
It is Harrison Bader.
I was like, it's like the only one I can put together there is Harrison Bader.
Yeah.
That is shocking.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was like, wow, it's pretty cool.
Wow. Okay.
But, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. The last one
no.
I got for you, Harrison.
Oh, these will be good.
You have to tell me who the players are that I have represented in these AI generated pictures.
Oh dear
So,
God.
for instance, this first one, what MLB player does this picture represent?
Is that supposed to be Ricky?
Nope.
Oh, is it Junior?
It is Ken Griffey Jr., right? The kid. So Billy,
The kid.
a young goat's called the kid. The kid's on the kid and number 24. So Ken Griffey Jr., the kid. All right. Next one.
You.
What MLB player does this picture represent?
Oh, the Iron Horse.
The Iron Horse. Good, Lou Gehrig. Next one. What MLB player does this picture represent?
What? I'm not even sure what to make of this right now. Oh man. I mean, the first thing comes to mind was Prince Fielder because of the crazy.
That's not a bad
get
guess.
up, but
this is more based on his nickname.
Oh.
So he's holding a
Flies water.
And he is a what? What type of
the Sultan of SWAT, babe.
Sultan of SWAT. Yeah, babe.
Good. It's like, what on earth?
Yep. All right. What MLB player does this picture represent?
Oh my goodness. Is that a penguin?
Nope. Just more generically, it's a what?
Bird?
Oh,
is this the bird Fidrich?
Yes, Mark Fidrich. Good. The bird.
Oh man.
Yep. All right. What MLB player does this picture represent?
All right. Looks like they're cutting up logs.
Those are men in what?
Black.
One of the actors is who?
Oh, Will Smith.
The other one.
Oh, God, what the hell's his name?
Tommy Lee.
Oh, Tommy Lee Jones.
And they're doing what?
Cutting up logs.
With what?
A splitter?
Not a splitter.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know. What word are you going for?
It's a wood chipper.
Oh, Chipper Jones. Jesus Christ. Going all the way around the barn on this one.
Yeah, Chipper Jones. Yeah,
Holy.
That was a tougher one. All right.
It's a wood chipper and Tommy Lee Jones. Holy
crap. What MLB player does this picture represent?
My God, is that a deer at an ATM?
Yep.
What? Oh, God. So let's see.
But what is he doing to the ATM?
He's taking money out.
No, but he's got a bag and a head scarf. So he's...
Oh, is he robbing the ATM? Is the ATM?
So it would be...
Robin... Is this supposed to be Robin Yount?
Not Robin Yount. What is that animal?
Oh, Rob Deer?
Rob Deer, yes.
Oh, my God.
Rob Deer. All right. What MLB player does this picture represent?
That's got to be the captain, right?
Yeah, the captain, Derek Jeter. What MLB player does this picture represent?
Is that the crime dog?
It is the crime dog. Good. Fred McGriff, the crime dog.
Some of
Good.
these are absolutely hilarious.
What MLB player does this picture represent?
Is this Three Finger Brown or something like that,
Nope.
is it Raleigh Fingers?
It's Raleigh
Jesus.
Fingers, yeah, because of the mustache.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one makes sense.
Raleigh Fingers, good.
Holy crap!
Last one. What
Oh, the
MLB
D
player
train.
does this
Freaking
picture
Don
represent?
Trell.
Yeah, Dontrell
That's
Willis.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So, there we go, Harrison.
That was amazing.
Yeah, those were hilarious to try to put together. I was like, oh my god, these were funny.
I'm just waiting for like Homeland Security to show up at your house because of your Chat GPT history. Like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah, no clue. But oh my god, man. Yeah, those were funny. So, but
that was good.
Yeah. All right. Before we go, I know Doug threw a comment in here while we were doing trivia. Said late to the party. Just got to say, seems like all the free agents just sitting around waiting for Dodgers to offer them a huge deal. I don't disagree at this point. It's
can't even argue.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh, and did you see, I guess, while we're talking about it, did you see the fact that the Dodgers signed Joseph Dang, the first ever player signed from South Sudan?
I did see that a couple days ago. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a 6'7" pitcher. Is that right?
I think so. I mean,
yeah,
I hope he's not a catcher at 6'5".
6'7", 185, throws 95, and he's 17. He was, so that's where they used the rest of their international signing money on him while they weren't getting Sasaki.
Yeah.
My
Crazy.
Goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, John. Those were really fun to put together. Those were cool. Those might come back around, but anyways.
So, question for you though, Nick, in all this is that we haven't talked about Clayton Kershaw in a while. Where the Dodgers now have 72 starting pitchers, what happens to Clayton Kershaw?
They sign him, so they have 73.
John, you're starting a GoFundMe in Seattle so you guys can sign Bregman and Pete. I mean, you may have to. I mean, Donovan Solano was so far the biggest addition they've made, and he has a bat, but I don't think he's the bat you're looking for.
Yeah, honestly, so back to Clayton Kershaw, I haven't heard anything. It's been crickets.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how his injury went. It says he's not supposed to return until sometime next summer. So he had a successful rehab start and re-signed with the Dodgers on a 1-year deal with a player option for 2025. So I don't know if they've picked that up.
I don't believe they have. He's still very much a free agent.
That's interesting. Does he finally go back to the Rangers? Kind of like he threatened about, a couple last year. He was thinking about possibly going back home to pitch in Texas.
Yeah, he made the comment of if he couldn't go back to LA, he'd consider going home. I don't know that he would do that. So the option that he had, he declined. If you remember correctly, at the end of the year, he kind of said his farewell, and because he declined the option.
Wow. So I would almost say maybe at this point he just kind of retires, right? I mean, he's been injured a lot the last few years. I know he's only 41 strikeouts or something like that away from 3,000.
It's like 32 or something stupid, really close.
I know he would love to get to that 3,000K mark. The dude's already a Hall of Famer, dude. You don't have to risk it. It was a pleasure watching him pitch and dominate as much as he did. Another freaking Dodger, but the Dodgers weren't the Dodgers at the time that Kershaw was dominating everybody.
No, I mean they were, they hadn't won a World Series in a long time.
Right.
They were on the rise. Like he was there as they were beginning to rise.
Yeah.
And before they spent this kind of money, this ownership group wasn't in place when he was first there either. So he was the show.
And he was so good. I mean, untouchable for so long. So
and he's only 36, which I keep feeling like he's so much older, but he's not. He's just been around a long time.
Yeah. I think injuries are playing a big role in this for sure. I don't know. I think if he does end up signing, it's not going to be the Dodgers. He doesn't have a place there. He really doesn't.
Yeah. Well, that's, from something I read earlier today, because I was wondering the same thing once Sasaki happened. It's like, what happens with Kershaw? And apparently the Dodgers are, the Sasaki contract signing may actually change their opinion. They were leaving the light on for him, to come back when he was ready to get it to set his record and retire. It sounds like they may be looking at it as, we can't afford to give him 5 or 6 starts, because we got all the other guys that need starts.
Yeah.
So I don't know what becomes of him. I mean, he's been so important to the rise, to their history. I can't imagine they'd turn their back on him, but at the same time, like, what do you do with him?
I mean, I think he goes and kind of shops around. I don't know what kind of deal he'd get on the open market, to be completely honest. I mean, the Dodgers might be able to offer him the best, but like you said, where do we play him?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
When do we pitch him?
Who's losing starts so he can come and get a few?
None of your top 7 are.
I can't imagine you're going to tell. I mean, maybe they'll use him as an insurance policy. Somebody needs a breather in July, August. You call him in for a couple months, let him get his record, and then send him on his way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see there being a spot for him.
Yeah. Yeah, John, we said this earlier too. Like, no doubt. Like, if they don't win 110 plus games and win the World Series, it's almost like a failure of the season for sure.
Yeah, they should be chasing 120 plus wins at this point.
Yeah.
They should beat that old Mariners record.
Yeah. The Cubs did or are going to elect Sammy Sosa and Derek Lee into their team's Hall of Fame. So after that whole public apology that Sammy Sosa, I don't think Sammy Sosa should have had to apologize for. Beside the point, whatever your view is on steroids and baseball and all of that junk aside, I don't think he should have had to apologize to get into the Cubs Hall of Fame, by the way. But good for them, letting him back into the organization, giving him the honor that's due, and Derek Lee, who was also a huge staple in Chicago for so long for them.
Well, and can we talk about that? Like, the Cubs needed Sammy Sosa to apologize to let him back in. Aren't you the same Cubs that were watching this all happen, selling tickets, selling merchandise, getting swept up in the 98 home run race? Like, weren't you part of this? It wasn't like Sammy was the only person doing this. You were looking the other way like everybody else was as it was going on, but yet you want him to apologize for what he did?
Yeah.
I think that to me is that's insanity.
Yeah,
he has to be the one that apologizes.
Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of tired of this argument because, like, this is the one thing, like, I'm really passionate about is the steroid guys getting into the Hall. Like, at first I was against it. Like, yeah, they cheated. Don't put them in the Hall. As soon as you put Bud Selig in the Hall, who knew what was going on during that era, and you celebrated him for saving baseball after the 94 strike, those guys should all be in. There's no arguments against why they shouldn't be out. I don't care that they cheated, right? Your commissioner, your leader, your commander-in-chief at the time turned his back, turned a blind eye, was watching like this, saved the game, and then the players get shunned for it, and the guy gets celebrated? No,
but
absolutely not.
Come on, Nick. I mean, the fact that they had this massive home run explosion 3 years after a strike, that was just incredibly good timing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Bud Selig must have been sitting there going, man, how lucky am I that, like, I'd have to do a thing to fix baseball. It just fixed itself. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy this incredible home run race that I have no idea how it's happening or why all these home runs are being hit, but this is amazing for the game.
Yeah. Listen, like I said, at first I was with the fans that were like, yeah, keep them out, because what they did was, was cheating. But they didn't have testing in. It wasn't illegal. Your commissioner knew what was going on, turned a blind eye, and then he gets into the Hall of Fame. As soon as that happens, the floodgates should be open.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. Yeah. It's not an argument for it anymore. It's just a part of what baseball history was. What was it? Ken Caminiti said that 85% he believed that 85% of Major League Baseball players during that time were using some sort of performance enhancing drugs. Like it doesn't matter at that point.
Well, I mean, and it's not like it was steroids, it was human growth hormone, like it was all kinds of stuff. Like Andy Pettitte got
Right.
busted for HGH, and other guys took steroids. And if when pitchers and hitters are both doing it, and that's the world you live in, and those are the rules you're playing under, well, it is what it is.
Right.
And if MLB is not actively suspending these guys for what they knew, then they're just as complicit as the rest. And it is what it is. You have to accept that era for what it is. Put the players that need to be in. You know, like John's saying, like even if you take the stats away from the years these guys are believed to have been under the influence of PEDs, they're still Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Like what are we arguing about? It's silly to punish their whole career over what's probably a few years. But even then, it's also hard to put the guy in the Hall of Fame and congratulate him and thank him for saving baseball when you're punishing the guys that actually saved it.
Right.
I mean, let's call it what it is. Everybody knew what was going on. Nobody wanted to stop it until it got out that it was happening, and then it became more of a media circus than anything.
Yeah. And that's my biggest point is as soon as you put the commissioner in for that era, the gate should have been open for everybody else.
Yep.
That's it. End of story.
It is what it is.
Sorry.
Move on.
Yeah. But to go back to the original point, I'm glad the Cubs are finally honoring Sammy Sosa because he was the spirit of the Cubs. I mean, one of my favorite baseball memories is him sprinting on the field with the American flag.
I was just going to say that.
I mean, it's so awesome. It's such a great moment. Even when McGwire broke the record in 98 against the Cubs, which was crazy in itself. Like Sammy Sosa was there pretty much at home plate to give him a huge hug. Like
they're doing the uppercuts to each other. Like it was such a cool moment.
Yeah. I mean, it really was. And to be able to watch the Cubs every afternoon coming home from school, like I did, and watching Sammy play day in and day out, like it was clear that he embodied like what Cubs baseball means. And I'm glad he's finally getting an honor for it.
And every kid in their backyard football games was doing Sammy Sosa's little hop out of the batter's box and his, the kiss thing with his fingers. And like, he was such a big part of late 90s MLB and the saving of baseball.
Yeah.
And I still find it appalling that he had to apologize to the Cubs to take him back. But even then, like, another guy who was just so important to that era of baseball.
Yeah.
And he was basically ostracized from the game for all those years. Like there's always a joke, like whatever happened to Sammy Sosa? Like, let's do a where is he now and find out what the hell happened to him.
Yeah. Guys, can we keep him out for the cork back though? He cheated twice.
I mean, he did. And I will say
he thought it was his batting practice bat. Well, give him the benefit of the doubt, I guess. I got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I will say he did apologize quickly for that one. But yeah, he cheated twice. So have a lot of guys. I think you made a comment today on a post, Nick Romeo. Chris Sabo, what's the first thing that was to mind? Corked bat.
Corked bat. Yep.
There's a bunch of guys, and Albert Bell did it. I mean, so many guys have done it. But
yeah. No, I mean, I get that it's a polarizing topic. I get it because you have baseball purists, you have me where I feel like I'm kind of stuck in between. Like there's parts of the game that I want to keep pure, and there's parts of the games like, well, like let them in. They've served their time, let them in. Like I'm kind of that like middle ground, I guess.
Well, and there are like the holier than thou purists of baseball where like it has to be a certain way, done a certain way, a certain type. And it's not that cut and dry. The game every 10 years, the game changes. You're in a different era. The game's played differently. Certain stats are more valuable. It's the nature of it. And you can't be stuck on what it was. You have to move forward and accept it for what it is. And, and John, you nailed it with what we're trying to say, which is the summer of 98 saved baseball in such a big way that baseball was circling the drain in 98. The 94 strikes took all the wind out of its sails. People were so annoyed with it, tired of it. The game was boring. It wasn't exciting. And people were just done with it. They were done with baseball. Ratings were in the tank. And then all of a sudden you start hitting a bunch of home runs and guys are going off and people are like, oh, I better tune in. And that summer of 98 might be the best summer of baseball I've witnessed in my whole life. Because I honestly, it almost didn't matter who won the World Series because the regular season was so much more fun.
Yeah. I work at a retirement community and I talk to the residents and they tell me all the time that they were huge baseball fans. But after 94, they just cold turkey stopped. They just didn't come back to the game. And then they're like, when 98, 99, 2000 came around, they started picking up baseball again. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that 98 saved the game. And then the contracts exploded after that.
Yeah, they did. Players got the revenue to the league blew up. Contracts blew up. I mean, everything went off. And actually, John, good point. Rafael Palmeiro, a guy who was really known for his glove and a high average guy with a great glove, started hitting for some power. And he was another guy that got popped and basically just destroyed for it. But yeah, I mean, baseball went from guys hitting home runs. You had a couple guys hitting 40s. Then it was a couple guys in the 50s. And all of a sudden it was a couple guys in the 60s. It just kept climbing. But the summer of 98, that was like must-see baseball. Every night, it was must-see TV. And then baseball tonight if you missed it. And it was web gems and home runs. That's all we cared about.
Yep. All right, here we go. Ready? Home run stats in 1998. McGuire, 70. Sosa, 66. Griffey, 56. Sosa, 66.
Yep.
Griffey, 56. Greg Vaughn, 50. Albert Bell, 49. Canseco, 46. Castilla, 46. Juan Gonzalez, 45. Manny Ramirez, 45. The Big Cat, Andres Galarraga, 44. Palmeiro, 43. Alex Rodriguez, 42. And to top out the 40 home run club, Big Mo Vaughn for your Boston Red Sox. Yes.
And Alex Rodriguez was what? That was his second year, right? Wasn't he a rookie in 97?
Yeah, probably. So 13 guys over 40 home runs in 98. Yikes.
And some names make you go, really? Like Greg Vaughn? Really?
Right. 99. You had both McGuire and Sosa. Over 60.
I'll never forget Juan Gone for the 100 RBIs at the All-Star break.
That was crazy.
Nuts. That was nuts.
Yeah. So, yeah. 99. You had McGuire and Sosa both hit over 60 again, and then the next closest was Griffey at 48. Chipper Jones hit 45 that year.
Oh, that's right. Alex, rookie, he was 95. That's right. He and Jeter were both 95. Nomar was 97. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah. Nomar came up behind those guys.
Yeah. But yeah, there wasn't 850 plus homer guys, but there was 13 40 plus. That's pretty ridiculous. That's a lot of homers.
So many.
But yeah, that's insane. But yeah, again, I'm glad, as much controversy as there is around Sammy Sosa on and off the field, I'm glad he's being honored for what a Hall of Fame should be, what you did on the field and for the organization at the time. Yep. That's what a Hall of Fame should be, right? I should, if my work had a Hall of Fame, I should be in that Hall of Fame for what I did for that job and for that company.
Yep.
That's it. Doesn't matter what I do in my personal life. What I did for that job and what I did for that company is all that should matter.
And if you dug deep enough, you'd find stuff in all these guys. They're drinkers, they're gamblers, everybody's got bodies buried and skeletons in the closet. It is what it is.
Right.
You dug deep enough, you'd be able to disqualify everybody. So let's just accept it for what it was. But not only that, but let's appreciate the era for what it was.
Right.
Was it a radical change to baseball? Yeah, but it needed it because the game was dying.
Yeah. So, and then Derek Lee. Let's not sleep on this guy's Cubs career either.
Wildly underrated and underappreciated too.
Yep. He had a 46 home run year for the Cubs in 2005. Followed it up with a 22, a 20, a 35. I mean, dude was solid for them. So I'm glad. Yeah, All-Star game, Gold Glove, top 10 MVP finishes.
Yep.
2 All-Stars for them. So
yep.
Finished third in the MVP that year that he hit the 46 and 107.
Crazy. Yeah, John, Nick and I have gone back and forth with this a bunch. You know, the baseball writers, the way they sit on their pulpit like they're God and decide who's good and who's bad. It is wild because other Hall of Fames, you're right. You've got guys in there who are known to not necessarily be good guys, but they were great players. And the character clause requirement of the Baseball Hall of Fame is just so much. It's just so much higher. It holds these guys to such a level that doesn't have anything to do with how they played. You just want these guys to be, altar boys.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is, you dig deep enough, these guys all have something. You got to let it be what it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, and when Sean was with us all the time, he would say that football has it right. They sit in a room with former players, former coaches, former general managers, and they go around the table and they say, is Nick Arno a Hall of Famer? Yes or no? Yes. And then it's just right around the table. Yes, 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 no, yes, yes. Majority rules, boom, he's in.
Yep.
That's voted on by your peers on the field. Has nothing to do with what we say all the time. Like, I shunned a writer coming off the field because I didn't want to talk to him that night. Well, there goes my Hall of Fame vote. Like, no, it shouldn't be like that. That's terrible.
Well, and how many of these writers have stood in the batter's box in game 7 of a World Series and stared down a guy throwing 100 miles an hour? None. But a panel of your peers know what it's like to do that, so they can judge you on what you've done. And that's the thing that drives me crazy, is that with baseball, you're being judged on what you've done by people who have never done it.
Right.
Like, how do you judge the performance of a Major League Baseball player when you've never been on the field, when you've never stood in the box, when you've never taken the reps? Like, it's easy to sit there and go, well, he was a jerk in Cincinnati to me one time, so forget him. Well, no. You are a beat writer. Like, yeah, you asked him a question at 1:15 in the morning after a 13-inning loss.
Right.
He wasn't in the mood to talk to you about it. But if you were a player, you'd get that and you would have backed off. Like, you're being judged by people that are not your peers.
Yeah.
And that drives me crazy.
Yeah. Their highest level was being maybe the second best player on their Little League All-Star team.
Right. Like, I was a shortstop in Little League, so I'm a stud. Like, that does not make you qualified to judge Andrew Jones's career. How many balls have you chased down in center field? Oh, none. Okay, so you're qualified to say anything about this. Why?
Yeah.
Baseball's got it all backwards, but it's because it's not the MLB Hall of Fame. It is the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And it's governed in a whole separate way by different people who are not necessarily baseball people.
Right.
They are historians. They are museum people.
Yeah. And speaking of the Hall of Fame, they are announcing who's going in tomorrow, I believe, right? I think it's tomorrow.
I think it's 21st, Tuesday. I think it's the 21st.
So math is hard.
But yes, we should have a new crop of Hall of Famers on Tuesday. If I remember correctly.
Yep, January 21st. So who's in?
Oh, I'm a big Hall guy, so everybody gets in.
Does Billy Wagner get in?
I'm sorry. Does he get in or should he get in?
Does he?
This is his last year on the ballot. I think he gets in. I think people finally realize they've waited too damn long to vote him in. I'm going to say Billy Wagner is a yes.
Okay. Andrew Jones.
Oh, God, he has to get in. I'm going to say yes. I think they're going to get that one right.
Okay. Ichiro, do you think he's unanimous?
I think he should be unanimous. I don't think he will be.
He needs to be unanimous. If he's not unanimous, it's an absolute crime. Guy has over, again, It's the Baseball Hall of Fame, not the MLB Hall
Right.
of Fame. The dude's got over 4,000 career hits between here and Japan.
Yep.
He should be cannon for an arm, one of the best defenders, hit machine, got to be unanimous. You've already broken the unanimous thing with Mariano Rivera. That's a different story, but Ichiro should be in unanimously. CC Sabathia.
No. I mean,
maybe not this year.
Yeah, I say maybe not this year. I think he should get in eventually, but maybe not this year.
Okay. We keep saying Carlos Beltran, but he's blackballed. Do you think he falls off the ballot?
I don't think he falls off the ballot. I think he stays on. I think he'll get enough votes to stay on. I just don't know that he gets enough votes to get in. I'm looking at the tracker that John had mentioned just to see where things are, and Ichiro's at 100% currently. CC's at 93. Wagner's at 85. Beltran's at 80. And then Andrew Jones is at 72.
And you need what?
75. So that would say Andrew Jones is short and Carlos Beltran may have enough to get in. Now, this is still super preliminary, but interesting that as of a few hours ago, that's where we stand.
Listen, I'm like Andrew Jones, it to me is a Hall of Famer. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, his offense is terrible. His batting average is terrible. He still won't be the lowest batting average guy in the Hall of Fame if he gets elected.
No, he won't be.
10 Gold Gloves, 434 career home runs. Now, what are we talking about? I know the Hall isn't necessarily about numbers. Guess what, guys? It's about numbers. You have guys in there like Ozzie Smith, Brooks Robinson. They weren't the best offensive guys. Let's call it how it is. They're in there because of their defense.
Yep.
13 Gold Gloves at short, 16 at third base. You can be in there for defense alone. And Andrew Jones was also in an era where other center fielders were pretty damn good, if I remember right. And he still won 10 Gold Gloves in a row, consecutive.
And there's only 3 players in history to have 410. So 400 home runs and 10 Gold Gloves. Willie Mays, Ken Griffey Jr., Andrew Jones.
That's it.
That's it. That's the entire list of outfielders to have 410. That's the whole list.
There's no argument to me. I don't understand it.
Zero.
And if we're talking about a small hall, then it's different, right? If we're talking about a small hall, Andrew Jones isn't in my eyes. But as soon as you started letting Harold Baines in and guys like that, he needs to be in. I think Don Mattingly should be in the Hall of Fame, for crying out loud. Why he's not, I don't even know. But when you have opened the door for these veterans committees or whatever or Harold Baines to get out on his last year of eligibility, then you got to look at a guy like Andrew Jones and being like, why isn't this guy in the Hall?
Yeah. And John, I've always said I would love for, if a player gets 90% or more of the vote, I would love for the players that don't vote for them, the writers that didn't vote for them, to have to explain why. Like if you didn't vote for somebody that 90% or more of your peers did, you should have to you should have to justify your vote. Why didn't you vote for them? What was the story? Because this could just simply be, I didn't like him. Well, that's not a reason not to put him in the Hall of Fame. That's you need to get tougher feelings.
Was it the one guy that left Derek Jeter off?
Yeah, we had one guy. You had one guy that left Jeter off. You had one guy. I think it was one guy that left Griffey off too.
Yeah,
like you should have to explain that vote. Why did you not vote for them? And it's got to be a reasonable. It's got to be something reasonable. Otherwise, you should lose your credential forever. Like, this is not a place to bring in personal feelings or political leanings or, what you think they might have said. This is where you judge players for what they did.
Yeah, that's it. End of story.
That's what you're there for.
And it's not. I don't understand that. I don't at all. But all right. Well, that was a half-hour Hall of Fame spiel I wasn't expecting to get on, but loved it.
But we may have to get on later this week once all the stuff is Once
Yes.
all the votes are in and everything's tallied, we can break it down. John, don't do shrooms, then cast your ballot.
Maybe that's why we don't have a vote yet, Harrison.
Honestly, I think if some of these guys did shrooms, they'd make better votes, but
Facts.
crazy.
Man, oh man. All right. Do you have anything else that's pressing for this evening?
I don't. We got Hall of Fame on Tuesday, so I'm looking forward to seeing who gets in and seeing if they got it right.
Yeah, so we might pop on either Wednesday night or Thursday night after it's been announced and talk a little bit more Hall of Fame. So keep your eyes out. We might pop on for, a nice quick half-hour or 2-hour discussion, depending on you guys. Yeah,
depending on who's around and what we're going to talk about.
Yep. So and we'll break down the Hall of Fame, but we'll be on most likely at some other point this week. But
for sure.
Before you go, if you haven't already, please like and follow us on Facebook. You can follow on Instagram and Rumble and TikTok. It's back. You can follow us there. You're welcome. Thanks, Donald Trump, I guess. And then you can also subscribe on YouTube and listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. As usual, guys, thank you so much for joining us in the chat. It's absolutely incredible when you guys give us feedback and your perspective. We love the interaction. So thanks for coming back every week to our regulars. And we will see you either Wednesday night or Thursday night.
Yeah, we'll be back.